To know whether or not awareness is reliable or not, you'd have to do that same experiment on numerous occasions and in numerous different circumstances. If you got a different answer every time you did that experiment, then you'd know that awareness was not reliable. For instance, if you did that experiment with your mind, what is the quality of my mind? Under one circumstance, it would be agitated. Another circumstance, it would be excited. You'd always get a different answer. And therefore, the mind, we know, is not reliable. It's not something we can trust. It's not stable. But do that experiment, the experiment that we've just done now. Do it when you're walking down the street. Do it when you're at work. Do it when you're in a difficult situation, a relationship, a work, and see if you always get the same answer. See if awareness is always the same, always present, always reliable, never fluctuating, always available. That's the way to develop this deep trust in the reliability, the trustworthiness, the steadiness of awareness. And then you can make a subtle shift from you being a person or a mind that is investigating awareness, because it's not really the mind that investigates awareness. Only awareness is aware. And therefore, only awareness can investigate or know itself. So when you go, as you did just then, to the experience of being aware, it is you, awareness, that are, so to speak, tasting the qualities of yourself, and then your mind formulates those qualities: clear, vast, peaceful, and so on. So we tend to identify ourselves as a person, which in practice is a cluster of thoughts, images, feelings, memories, sensations, perceptions, and so on. But you can make a shift in your identity. Instead of feeling that I am this person, I am this bundle of thinking, feeling, sensing, and perceiving, and awareness is something that I, as a person, experience. You just make this subtle shift. What I essentially am is awareness. And the person that I seem to be, this bundle of thinking, feeling, sensing, and perceiving, appears to me. Thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, perceptions, they appear to me, they exist for a while, and then they vanish. But I am the awareness to which they appear and in which they appear. And what we call death is the death or disappearance of the person we seem to be, the bundle of thinking, feeling, sensing, and perceiving. But there's nothing to suggest on death that the awareness that we essentially are, the aware being, the awareness that we essentially are, goes anywhere. There's no question of it. So from the point of view of awareness, there's no question of going anywhere at death. Awareness never goes anywhere. If you drive from San Francisco to New York, does the space in the car go anywhere? Space never goes anywhere. Well, even more so, awareness never goes anywhere. So sensations and perceptions move, and therefore thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, perceptions, these all move. These all give us the sense that we move through time and space, but actually awareness itself is always stationary. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions flow through awareness. But awareness is always the same. It's always in the same place, which is actually not a place. Place only comes into apparent existence with perceptions. Time only comes into apparent existence with thought. But awareness is always in the same placeless place. It never goes anywhere. It wasn't born. It doesn't die. It's that in which everything is born, exists, and dies. So the more you establish yourself, not so much in, but as the presence of awareness, that this fear of going to some hell realm when you die, it becomes less and less plausible. In order for awareness to perceive anything, it must do so from a localized point of view, from a point of view. The reason you can see this glass is because you see it from one point of view. If you saw it simultaneously, let's take it something less symmetrical, this jug. At the moment you see this jug from one point of view, so you see one jug. But imagine you could see the jug simultaneously from 2 points of view. Imagine you saw it simultaneously from where you're sitting and from over here, and that those two images were superimposed on top of each other. It wouldn't look quite as clear as it looks now. And now imagine you could see it from 4 points of view, from where you are, from here, and here, and you superimposed all of those images on top of each other. It would begin to look like a cubist painting. Now imagine you could see it simultaneously from 120 points of view, everyone's point of view in the room, and all those images were superimposed on top of each other. It wouldn't look like a jug at all. Now imagine that infinite consciousness could perceive the jug. Where would it perceive it from? It would have to perceive it from every possible point of view in space if consciousness is infinite. Well, can you imagine what the jug would look like if it was perceived from every possible point of view in space? It would not look like a jug. It would be just black, darkness. There would be no object there. And it's for this reason that I say sometimes that infinite consciousness by itself knows or perceives nothing. It's only possible to perceive something or know something if you stand apart from that thing and view it from a point of view, from a point of view of a subject. And that's what all of us are. We are subjects from whose point of view objects are perceived. That's how manifestation is known in subject-object relationship. So infinite consciousness by itself knows nothing, experiences nothing, perceives nothing. Because to know, experience, or perceive, you have to do so from a point of view. And what you perceive is relative to the point of view from which you perceive it. So although infinite consciousness is what the mind refers to as everything, it itself knows nothing or perceives nothing directly. In order to perceive something, it has to do so from a localized point of view. So we could say that infinite consciousness by itself is a realm of infinite potential in which there is no manifestation. Nothing is manifest. There's no objective experience for the reason I've just explained. Therefore, if the potential that lies in consciousness is to be realized, if there is to be manifestation, consciousness must seem to cease being infinite consciousness. It must localize itself as a finite mind, from whose point of view it is able to realize or view its infinite potential as the universe. And that's what each of us are. We are localized points of view of infinite consciousness in infinite consciousness. But this localization or apparent localization of infinite consciousness as a finite mind comes at a price. What is the price? That this finite mind that each of us seems to be, we think it is finite. We think that what we are is a finite, temporary, separate self. Although all there is to the self that we seem to be, as we've been exploring this week, is infinite being or infinite consciousness. Nevertheless, we seem to be a separate self, and the vast majority of finite minds believe that they really are temporary, finite, separate selves. So as soon as that belief sets in, then the other becomes other. We lose this felt sense of the unity of being behind the appearance of multiplicity. And that's when all the terrible things that you refer to happen. The conflict, the cruelty, the injustice, the unkindness, the wars. They happen, they're all perpetrated by people who believe that they really are temporary, finite, separate selves, and therefore, from that point of view, the other is other, not their self, and therefore they can be treated as such without their self being implicated. But we can't say consciousness chooses to do that. It is simply its nature to localize itself as a finite mind, and as such to realize its infinite, formless potential in form. So I hope that it goes some way to responding to your question about how. Well, let's put it in evangelical Christian terms, about how a God, which is infinite goodness, infinite beauty, infinite love, could allow a creation in which there is injustice, unkindness, and cruelty.